Hello, welcome to the Knits and Things podcast. My name is Heather. I go by Heather219 on Ravelry and Instagram. And also on Ravelry, there is a group for the podcast with the same name. It's the Knits and Things podcast group. And I wanted to say thank you to all the people who have joined so far. There aren't very many, but I'm working on a plan to beef up membership. So if you continue listening, I'm going to talk about 2 contests that I want to start, and one of them involves becoming a member of the group and socializing a little more in the group, so it's not just me talking to my iPad every 2 weeks. So, and speaking of that, I know that I'm a little bit late recording, if anybody's been waiting with bated breath. Probably not. But I did record on Friday. I recorded late on Friday night. Like I said, that everybody's schedule around here has changed, and it's not the quiet Friday night that it used to be during the summers. So it was very late, and well, to put it plainly, it was crap. So I really was not interested in releasing it or hitting edit or hitting upload. I didn't think it was worth sharing with everybody. I thought it was really poor quality. My speaking was not the most coherent because it was almost 10 o'clock at night on a Friday, and by 10 o'clock on Friday night, I'm done. And excuse me for looking down, but I just broke a nail, and I broke it way down, and I really don't want to cut it right now. And I want to record because I'm on a time crunch this week, but I'm worried that my fix is not going to solve the problem. I don't know. We'll see. So I wanted to start again with this podcast and make a better, more coherent one. So thank you so much for joining me if you're coming back. Welcome if this is the first time you've watched. And I want to say thank you to everybody who is returning and who has watched this and decided that they'd like to watch again. Also, thank you to those podcasts who have mentioned my podcast on their show. I think the first one to do it were Stacy and Steph from the Mustache Podcast, but I know the Knit and Wolf Podcast has mentioned it. This one, trying to think of the other ones. The Sittin' and Knittin' Podcast. Is it Diane from there as well? And just a couple of people have mentioned it. It's always such a little thrill when that happens, and I apologize for not saying thank you personally earlier. I'm not that type of person. I normally say thank you a lot. I think it's just the change in format where I don't have somebody here in front of me. So thank you so much. Thank you. So I don't really know why I didn't say thank you before. I need to write myself a little script, I guess, and say what I need to do in the very beginning of the show. But I definitely appreciate all the people that have joined and all the people that respond. In fact, I'm going to answer one question that was asked in the group the next time I record. I didn't ask if she wanted me to answer the question on the podcast or just in the Ravelry group, so I'm going to wait until I hear from her. So if that was you that asked about the teaching question, I'm getting back to it, I promise. So the first thing I want to talk about is what's been going on since the last time. So where we live is a suburb of D.C., but we're kind of actually really lucky. We're in between D.C. and Baltimore. So we miss sometimes things that go on in D.C., but a lot of times Baltimore has a similar event. So we missed, I think it was probably 3 weeks ago now, we missed the National Book Festival in Baltimore because Zach was with his dad. So we went to the Baltimore Book Festival last weekend, 2 weekends ago. It was just before I recorded. It was last weekend when I recorded on Friday, and then we had a whole weekend in between there because today is Wednesday, October 9th, right? Yes, today's Wednesday, October 9th. So, and while we were there, we went first of all to see Adam Rex, who is an author that was recommended by, is it Wendy from Knitters Brewing Company? I never remember which one's Wendy. Anyway, one of the girls from the Knitters Brewing Company has sons my age, my child's age. And a lot of things that she recommends for them, I think, oh, I wish my kids would read that. And this one book that she talked about was really, really cool. And so the author is Adam Rex, and the book is called The True Meaning of Smek Day. And it's a book for teenager-ish children. The main character is actually a girl, but I think it's all about aliens and things. So I think it's appealing to either a boy or a girl. So I really wanted to go and see this author. He was presenting and talking and then signing books at around 2:30. So we timed our arrival just right. Picked up a friend of my son's, and I took both boys up to Baltimore, and we got there just in time. I was kind of shooing them up the hill to make sure that they got to see him. And actually, it was a good deal for me too, because this same author writes picture books, and he has a brand new picture book out called Moon Day, and I got him to sign that to me, and it's really cute because on the little moon on the title page inside the book, he decorated the moon and made it look like a little face, and it says, "Hi, Miss Vereen," for me, for my classroom. So this one, though, was my son's, and I actually had my son's friend DJ get him to sign the Moon Day book for me, and then my son got him to sign this one for him. So this is now a signed copy, and this is what the author did while the boys stood there and talked to him. It just says, hi Zachary, and he signed his name, and then this is a little drawing he did, and I think those are like the aliens in the book. So it's really a cute book. I think it's going to hold my son's attention. The basic story is Earth was invaded by aliens. Different people in this town in, is that Arizona? I think so. Mark the day that the aliens left, I believe, or maybe it's the day they arrived. I don't know, but somehow the aliens are in the story, and it's really cute, and it's told throughout the story, and there's little pictures throughout the story. I want to hold on to the cover page. So he does amazing illustrations, and they're all throughout the story, all throughout the book, and I think that will hold my son's attention as well. That one's not really much to see. So I think that's going to hold his attention too. My son has always been, unfortunately, it looks like it's upside down. Does it look like it's upside down to you? Maybe it's the way I was looking at it. He's unfortunately always been a reluctant reader. He loves a good story, but he'd rather have someone read it to him, which doesn't help much when you have to read books for class. So tons and tons of pictures interspersed in the story, and this is actually being turned into a movie. And the really funny part is his head alien's name is J-Lo, and so on his dedication page, you can see there's his signature, but on his dedication page, he has it dedicated to Steve Malik, or Malk, Steve Malk, and it's also for Miss Jennifer Lopez, since he used her name. So I have no idea if he knows her. I was going to ask him that, but then the boys were there. The boys were the ones talking to him, and I didn't want to kind of step in and say, hey, so have you met J-Lo since you named the alien after her? So this is going to be in movie theaters, I want to say this fall, that he had just said that he had just finished working on all of the work, the animation and everything, to get it into the theaters, and that it's going to be in theaters this fall, is what I want to say. Don't hold me to it, though. So that's The True Meaning of Smek Day by Adam Rex. And then the other cool but expensive thing was, again, my son, reluctant reader, he's never read a book in one day in his life. This time he did, because we also went by a comic book store, which I'm off, and again, reluctant reader, if you're going to read it, I'm going to get it for you. I'm not going to get a ton of these, and we'll have to check it out, but he found a Spider-Man comic that was very relevant to him and felt very personal to him, because this is the new era. So on the back it says, a new era of the Ultimate Spider-Man starts here in the event that grabbed worldwide headlines. So apparently, somewhere in the Marvel series, spoiler alert, Peter Parker dies. So Peter Parker is dead. They need a replacement Spider-Man, and who do they get? But a young black kid. So it was my son very much connected with that. He loved the idea that there was a black kid as the Spider-Man, as the character behind the mask of Spider-Man, and he read the entire thing. It's graphic novel style comic book. He read the entire thing in one day. I was thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. So, there's lots going on there. He was very enthralled and entertained by it, and he wants to now read the entire series from the beginning to the end and see the different ones, and definitely the one, he said he definitely wants to read the one where Peter Parker dies. Kind of morbid, I guess, but he probably just wants to know what's going on. So, that was one of the things we've been up to this week. I don't know. I guess nothing else is too entertaining. I know the last time I was recording, I said that I was going to go see Cassandra Wilson, who's one of my favorite entertainers, and she did not disappoint. It was the first time I had been to that venue, which was a supper club, and I think it's actually it was an old style movie theater, an old timey movie theater, because they still had in the very back they did still have some of the theater seating and everything. There was a bar behind that where you couldn't see the show, and then in front of that there was different levels to the stage, different levels to the floor rather, leading up to the stage, and so we were not far away at all, and I had a direct line of sight to her, as long as the guy in front of me was not eating from his plate, because every time he leaned down my view got blocked. So anyway, so did I mention the segments that we're going to talk about this week? Because this is for knitting, right? So we should talk about knitting. So we're going to do thing 1, Fox and Socks. Thing 2, 500 hats. Oh, the things you can think. And everyone needs a need. And when I get to everyone needs a need, I'm going to kind of branch off into some contests that I like to get started. So let's get started. Thing 1 is, guess what? Dalia. And see, this is good that I waited to record, because on Friday when I was recording, this was not done. I finally finished it up Sunday after my son's game. I worked on it going to and coming from his game, and I finally finished it up. So look at that. No strings, right? Well, there are still things to be sewn in, but there's no working yarn attached anymore. So all of the knitting is done. I have 2 wonderful sleeves. One is perfect, one is not. Actually, neither one of them are perfect, because I never remember to decrease at the right time. So there's my sleeves. There is one of the sleeves does have a mistake. I don't know which one it is. Hopefully you don't either. But I finally figured out that it was when I copied the pattern from the magazine. I own the magazine, but I copied the pattern because it's easier to take 2 pages of a copy around with you than to take a whole magazine with you. So I copied it. Some of the shading did not come through, which is why I was having such a hard time with the lace pattern on the sleeves, because some things were shaded where there should have been no stitch, where you decreased that part away, and I couldn't see that. So, sleeves are done. I'm trying to hold it up from the correct side now. Sleeves are done. So this is the cardigan. It still needs to have the back lace panel attached to the bottom and to the top, but that is it. That is it. And so I think with both sleeves done, I'm liking the little bit of purple at the cuff a little bit more. If I go through and decide that I don't like it once I've worn it, I do have more green, and I could finish the sleeves in just green. But that is it. So if you haven't seen it before, this is the one with the lace panel across the back. This pattern was in interweave for fall 2011, so 2 years ago. There's a lace panel across the back, and then there are miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of stockinette around, and there are 2 big drapey fronts to it, and 2 sleeves with a lace panel, the same leaf panel from the sleeve. Oof. The same leaf panel on the sleeve, or the leaf panel on the sleeve is the same as this part of the back. This part here, the 2 leaves and the little leaf bud or leaf tip. So that is now done. So I need to attach the tops and the backs, or the top and the bottom, to that lace panel on the back, and that is it. And then I can wear this. It won't get done till next week though, and I'll tell you why when we get to thing 2. There's big time things going on here, so I have no time to sew in ends or to attach a lace panel. I can talk. All right, so that's Dalia. Dalia is done. So once Dalia was done, I had time to go back to folded, and I got folded done to the point where, actually I had knit group this Saturday, so I had time to get folded to the point where I'm ready to attach sleeves. So this is the body of folded, and this is the finished body of folded. That's as long as it will be. Actually, I think I went about a ½ inch longer than what I was supposed to for my size, because I do have such a long torso, and I like for things to cover up certain certain areas, if you know what I mean. So I definitely like it to be a little longer and pass a couple little bulges so that they are not drawn attention to by a shirt stopping right where something else bulges out. Not good. So that's the body. Now I'm ready to do the sleeves. I need to cake up the next ball of yarn though. I didn't even think about it. I had wound something else and wasn't even thinking, oh, I do still have another skein of yarn, and the pattern does say to attach another piece of yarn to do the sleeve. So I also, once I finished Dalia, I had my 40-inch size 4 high is ready, that I can do both sleeves at the same time this way for Dalia. So that's all exciting, and I'll start working on that again once the Thing 2 challenge is over. So those are the two things I've been working on, and I think that's it for Thing 1. So on to Fox and Socks is interesting. So I have my skew socks here. I might just show you one. I've been wearing them lately, so they look a little worn. They haven't been washed yet since I've been wearing them. But this is skew, if you remember from the summer. I did these in the Lollipop yarns. And I was doing the skew with the yarn for the Knitting Samurai +1 anniversary knit along. But I changed my mind. I decided, thanks to Diane of Knittables, that I would rather do the Stitch Surfer pattern. So I ripped out the toe that I had started, which was not very much, and I started the Stitch Surfer with these. And so here's the way it looks, and I'll tell you which yarns. The striped is the yarn for the Knitting Samurai knit along. The purple is a skein of Miss Babs. I'm not going to remember. I've got the tag here somewhere. Here it is. Miss Babs Yummy. It's her fingering yarn 2-ply superwash. So it's 100% merino, and it's enough for 2 socks, or enough for most socks to do that. And I'm wondering, once I do this, if since I'm using part of a skein on the outside, part of a skein on the inside, if I'm going to have enough to maybe even reverse the yarns and do another pair, since I'll be using 2 balls that would normally make one whole pair of socks by themselves. So if you've ever knit Stitch Surfer, let me know. Or I guess if you've ever read all the way through the pattern, which I can tell you right now I have not. So when I finished, I was surfing left. Your left is that way, right? So when I finished, I was surfing left, and I actually got myself off a little bit. I'm not sure exactly where I am. I think I might have caught back up and be on the correct part. Yes, nothing looks miscrossed. But on one side, it's weird. On one side, and this is a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away. But on one side, you just drop the working yarn and start knitting with the next, which is the normal way for intarsia, right? And I've been crossing them at the back so that they do that. But then on the other side, you wrap and turn. And so when you wrap and turn, you don't necessarily have the other color of yarn right there where you're continuing on. And for some reason, I had done my wrap and turn. I was on the other side, and maybe I tried to wrap and turn at the wrong side. I don't know, but I got myself all mixed up. So I've been at this same point for like a week, because I would knit for a little while and then realize I wasn't ready, that the next piece of yarn was not there to grab when I wanted it, so I needed to go back. So I've knitted and unknitted the same 2 rows maybe 3 or 4 times. So I think either I'm looking at the pattern wrong, or I don't quite know. So me and knitting patterns lately, I need just plain stockinette. Maybe I need to become a stockinette zombie. So that's the Stitch Surfer pattern, and that's what I'm going to do for my sister for Christmas. She probably won't watch this. I don't even think she knows I do this. So she probably will not watch this, and hopefully her secret is safe for her present. If not, you're getting socks for Christmas, Jennifer. All right, so that's part of Fox and Socks. Those. The other part of Fox and Socks are traveling socks. Now I have a traveling sock in here. Oh, and this is a Fat Squirrel Speaks bag. This is one of her Halloween bags. When she was doing her podcast, and she gave the update for the Halloween bags, and I was like, yeah, because I'm not really a big Halloween person. I don't like to have a lot of Halloween decorations and everything. I want it like that day, but I don't do it like a month ahead, and I don't know. But when she pulled out that, the last bag, she showed the first two bags, and they were very Halloween-y. She showed the second bag, and it was definitely Halloween with the orange and black and the pumpkins all over it and everything. And I'm like, oh good, I don't need to even visit her update this time. Then she pulled out this. So this is right up my alley with the blacks and grays. So I really like that. And then with the orange inside, because I am an orange fan these days, even though the orange inside is spider webs, it's still really, really pretty. It's very subtle. And I really like the size of the bag. This is a really great size for a bag. And I may possibly have gone to the update this past weekend as well. And gotten the big, what I got though was the big sweater bag that you could put other bags into. And I'm thinking that this bag and this bag and this bag could all be in there. Because when she mentioned them, she talked about how you can stuff other things in there and make it look like it's just a pillow. And the fabric that she had, I think I got the one that had the gray and tan and red in it. It will go perfectly in my living room. So I did get another one, but only because I need it, right? Only because I need it. That's Girls Speaks podcast. If you don't watch that, you should, because she's really hilarious. She makes me laugh all the time. And she's got really great bags too. So this is one traveling sock. I just have to do the heel on this one. So if you can see, I've got one needle on there for the front and one needle for the back. The only thing I need to do is the heel though. And I think when I'm done, I need to check the recipient's measurements and see if I'm going to need to add 2 inches onto the front or not. Sometimes you just need the heel. And actually the person in front of me recommended that somebody just do the heel, and that way you have that piece of that color of yarn just in that one spot. I think it'll look really cool too. So I've started turning the heel and doing the short rows for the heel. So that's coming along now, just barely. And I'm using, for this one, I'm using some precious leftover, I want to say Color Me Different, and I know that's not her. Creatively dyed. Some leftover creatively dyed Calypso sock yarn. It's really nice. I used this for an Adam West shawl this past year, and I have a ton left. And I'm wondering, I'm going to actually do some measurements when I'm done. I'm wondering if I'll have enough to do a sock head hat with this leftover part. So we shall see. But I also got in the mail, I'm recording at a weird time today. I'm home early for my Thing 2 challenge, but I also agreed to go watch my nephew later. So I figured I can spin, if I put my nephew in his little gated playpen area, I can spin while he's playing, but it would be harder to record while he's playing because he might be loud or he might need me or something. So I decided to come and record first and then go there and spin. So I got in the mail just a minute ago the next round of traveling socks, and actually there's 2 in here. So this is like the double whammy because the lady in front of me realized that her husband forgot to mail one when she asked him to, so she has 2 actually. So this is the way they come. So this is one person's sock, and this is another person's sock, and they should be, and they definitely are. This one looks much more complete than the other. So what happens is they come in the mail, and these again you can sign up with through the Knitters Brewing Company Sockaholics group, and they have a traveling sock thread. Oh, this one's gorgeous. They have a traveling sock thread that you sign up for, and they will put you in contact with other knitters that also want a traveling sock, and then it's done round robin style, where you knit a little bit on your buddy's sock and your buddy knits a little bit on your sock. So everybody works on every sock, and by the time it goes all the way around the pike, you have a completed sock. So this one is really pretty. I love these colors. Wow. So from the red toe, and the toe the person that starts the sock does. So when I started mine, I did a green toe. And then here's the second person has done this portion. Third person here. Fourth person used this gray. That is really, really gorgeous yarn. Look at it in stockinette. Isn't that gorgeous? Wow. And then there's the yellow, like a goldenrod yellow. Very, very nice. And so this looks like this person is now finished with the gusset, and I need to do the heel. Oh, I get to do the heel on this one too. Something is definitely, I think we have somebody with a really short foot is what it is, because I did not do a gusset at all. And the sock that I'm working on now, I have a gusset for, and the sock, or I'm doing the heel for, and this one I have the heel for. You also put a little notebook in with it that tells what you want. And they can tell what things they want to do or what thing they would like for you to do. And then everybody else writes down what they have done. I'm just going to flip these real quick. I thought I saw an address there for a minute. Flip these real quick because then everybody writes down what yarn they use, anything else. Like if the sock spent some time, that's really cute. If the sock spent some time with their family at the beach or something, then you get to write that in there too. So there's one sock, and here's the other one. This one looks like very pastel colors, and these people might have asked for those colors. Sometimes it's just a happy accident the way they turn out, and sometimes they have asked for it. Oh, so you can see this one, the heel has already been turned. Wow. This one, I'm wondering if this is in the correct order, because my goodness, that's a whole lot of sock already. Okay, so this one is... Wow, that's really pretty. This looks almost like hand spun or something with the halo on that. Do you see the halo there? Wow, that's really pretty. So striped toe. Here's the second person. Here's the third person. Here's the fourth person. With a lot. That looks like seed stitch. Wow. Wow, that's a lot. And then the heel turn is there. So that's what I'm doing now. This little part. And then the next person has done this. And once you get to the leg, just like any sock, you start doing the pattern all the way around. And if you can see on the foot, you just do the foot plain for the bottom of the foot. So those are traveling socks. And I think they work out really funny, or really nice. They look really funny, because when you hold that up, you're like, what in the world happened to that person's sock? But when you put them on, they're so charming. And they're warm, just like any other sock. And they definitely have a story to tell. So, I don't know. I like them. I really like them. I think this is going to be the last one I do, at least for a while. Maybe in the winter I'll start another one up. But there's, I mean, you're knitting a whole sock. So, yeah, you're just knitting small parts on each sock. But you're making a sock. All the work that you have done has gone, all the work that someone else is doing to go into your whole pair of socks, you're doing too. Because everybody's working on everybody else's sock. So, it's, you know... I've done 2 pairs. When I finish with this, I'll have done 2 pairs of socks, and I think it's not even a year. I think I started last March with one, and then this one started over the summer. So there's a lot of work in there. All right, so I think that's it for Fox in Socks. Yes, so on to thing 2. So I mentioned that thing 2 has me busy because this week is Spinzilla. Yay! And oh my goodness, it's Spinzilla. So Spinzilla is here, and I'm a little nervous. I don't want to let anybody down. So I've been spinning my little heart out. So I've got a couple things to show you. The first thing, I did a little test run last week. So this was not for Spinzilla. This was in preparation for Spinzilla, but this doesn't count for my yardage. I did this sample skein last week for Spinzilla. Just to make sure I could get this on and off, or get this on a bobbin quickly, because that's what counts for Spinzilla. You're spinning as much as you can, as many singles as you can in this week. So when I measured this, I did this all in one day, and when I measured it, I had just over 200 yards. I think I had 205 yards of a single, and I'm going to keep this one as a single. This is some of my squoosh fibers, or squoosh fiber, which was an Etsy shop. I'm not sure if they're still around or not. You might have to Google them or look them up. But this was a superwash merino and alpaca blend. And it's very nice. And I decided to leave it as a single because what this was is the base of the fiber was gray. And it's not a solid gray. You can see that it's kind of a mottledy gray. Some places it's darker and some places it's lighter. But you've got these pops of color where you've got blue or rust or almost like a green or a yellow in places, and that I think comes through really nicely as a single. And I didn't want to take a chance of getting too much barber pulling going on when I plied, so I'm just going to leave it as a single. And I'm thinking if I've done the other one the same, that I should have a matching set that I could do something with. In places I want to say that this one got thinner as I was spinning, but it might fluff out to the same because I didn't have a picture of the singles before I started before I wash them for this game that's done. So I think it'll be a pretty good match. And hopefully I'll have at least 400 yards that I'll be able to do something else with. So this was the first thing that I spun for Spinzilla. I did it all in one day. I actually did it in less than one day. I did this on the first day. And I was finished with that before the first day. So I started on a loop bat. And I've shown you guys this loop bat before, but I want to show you again. This one is the one that's green on the outside. And then inside it was a lavenderish purple and then a periwinkle blue. Now we're on this sky blue. Maybe not sky blue. Maybe like a teal blue. Like a Tiffany blue. And then there's grass green on the outside. And this color was the vernal equinox. Okay, so definitely spring colors. Definitely spring colors. This is from a club that I joined that all I asked for was no sparkle. So this is the first of the bats that I got. But I also got, maybe last week in the mail, I got another one, and I wanted to be sure to show you that because I don't know that I showed you this. Again, I think the only time I talked about it was on the podcast that I deleted. So this one is called Bouquet, and this is kind of florally again, kind of earthy, but it's definitely beautiful flower colors. Ooh, there's something on there. Excuse that little, whatever it is. But this one, ooh, this one I think is really gorgeous. So deep purple to a little bit lighter purple to a true lavendery purple. And then I think there's like a rose in there, maybe just a small strip, and then there's a burgundy on the outside. That's really, really pretty, and I think that's going to be nice. And these are spinning up beautifully. I know some people have mentioned that, oh, well, you know, it's pretty, but I don't know that I need to do them all the time. I will probably sign up for a club again because this is my kind of spinning. I can spin it in my crazy backward draw, not quite long draw style, and it doesn't hurt my hand too much, and I get a nice, smooth, even single. It's going really, really well. So if I can, I've got my wheel sitting here. I'm going to see if I can pull it over. I don't want to knock the table, though. So let me see if I can pull it over. I just have an Ashford Traveler, so it does lift up pretty easily. As long as you've been doing your weightlifting. So there, up, is the spindle that I'm in the middle of now. So I still have quite a bit to go. And this is a bigger batch of fiber than the Swoosh Fibers was. Uh-oh. It's caught on my orifice hook. So the bullseye bumps are 5.1 ounces, where the Swoosh Fiber was only 4 ounces, but still, I've spent 2 days on that now. This will be the second day, so I need to finish that. That's why I'm going to take that with me when I go babysit my nephew tonight. So I will be finishing that up tonight to get that off of there because I still have, I don't know if I'm going to start on this. I've got another bat from a different fiber artist that's just a big fluffy bat that I can probably practice my long draw with, and I can get that on and off of there tonight along with this loop bat, I think. So I need to keep going because I don't want to let anybody down. I want to spin as much as I possibly can. I did notice yesterday, though, that as I was spinning, my hand was getting a little bit tired after all that spinning and after 2 days of it. So I don't want to injure myself and be out for the count by the time it's over. But that's what's going on with Spinzilla, and I'm really excited, and I'm really happy to get to participate. I'm on team The Knit Girls. Along with other people that signed up and joined with the Knit Girls to do this challenge, and we have said before that we want to win, so I'm all up for it. I want to spin as much as I can, so that should be off the bobbin tonight, and on to the next one. So yay, go team, everybody. 500 hats. Let's go on to that, and the 500 hats is what you're wearing. So if you can see around my neck, I have a little lace scarf. And I do this sometimes. My classroom has been freezing. The weather has been up and down and up and down. And last week the weather started getting warm around here again. We had a warm spell for a while. And the classroom was steaming hot. And I was going in there in sleeveless shirts. Well, then they turned on the air conditioner because the weekend was supposed to be warm too. So they turned the air conditioner on. They left it on. And then on Monday morning when we walked in there, everybody in the entire building was freezing. And I don't know if you remember me saying before, but it's usually on my side of the building, it's warm. on the other side of the building, because there's two wings. Basically, there's a primary wing and there's an upper grade wing. It's separated by a library and a lunchroom and an office down the middle. So there's a courtyard space and everything. But usually the two wings are very different because we've had some construction going on. The school used to be open space, and it got closed in. But it got closed in bit by bit, so they would take one open space and close it in and make classrooms. And then the next year they would take the next closed-in space and make it into separate classrooms. And they did this in stages, except for the far side. The far side they did pretty much the whole side of the hallway at one time. So, and it's resulted in this crazy heating situation. So on Monday, everybody in the building was cold. It was cold on my side of the building, and it was freezing on the other side of the building. It was just crazy. No, I guess that wasn't Monday. I guess that was yesterday. Monday was still 80-something degrees. But then it started raining on Monday, and it got down, and it's maybe been high of like 65, 70. But the air conditioner is still on. So it's been freezing, so I've been wearing wool. Yesterday I wore my brickless all day long. And today I have on, this is an advent calendar scarf. This is done each year, and I didn't look up the names and the stats and everything, but if you look up Advent Calendar 2012 and Advent Calendar 2011, they will come up and you'll be able to see people's versions of them. And it's really inspiring, and it's a nice way to do the season, I think. I've done it for the last 2 years. The first year, actually I think I've done it for the last 3 years. Has it been 3? No, just 2. Just 2. The first year I did not finish. Matter of fact, the scarf is still in my unfinished object pile, and I keep going back and thinking of a plan to get it done. I used a bigger yarn, so I actually don't need to do all of the days to get a good sized scarf. I think I need to do maybe like 6 more days, and I'll have a decent sized scarf. And that's my plan, is that I'm going to go back to it one of these days and finish that up. So we shall see. Maybe this year I'll just do that instead of continuing on with the new one. But what happens is it's just like a regular advent calendar. So I'll take this off and let you see. And excuse me for drinking. I'm actually having issues right now. I think I'm having another gallbladder attack, and I haven't been able to eat except for brown rice for 2 days. It's been lovely. Brown rice and apple juice. Like I'm 2. So what happens is each day you knit a lace panel, a lace pattern. And this version that I did last year is actually only halfway as big. It might even have been only a third as big, because it winds up being a big, substantial shawl. It's called the Advent Calendar Scarf, but really it's a shawl. So each day you get a lace panel, a lace pattern to knit, and you knit it in between a border, and then you do, you knit it in between the edges, and then you do a border in between. And if you can see, the border is beaded, which is what she recommends, and some of the lace patterns are beaded as well. Although I don't know that I did beads inside any of the lace this last year. But the combination last year, the combination like that one, the combination of cables and lace was just stunning. And this woman, the woman that writes it, does it all for free. She doesn't get paid for this. She goes through and picks out panels that she thinks are going to go nicely and fit in the stitch count. And she publishes it in different languages on a daily basis. And it's really, really nice. So if you ever get a chance, poke around in Ravelry and see, because it's really just gorgeous. And this year, last year when I did it, was the first time I've ever knitted lace in lace yarn. And it's really long, if you can see. So I always wear it doubled over like this. And then it's really nice and warm. I think it was a Misty Alpaca lace that I did for this. And so it's very nice and warm around my neck. And it really does keep me warm, even though it's just this little slip of a thing. And then it's just, I really like this. It's really, really gorgeous. It makes me feel very accomplished to have done some lace. Look at that panel. Isn't that pretty? So, I don't know. If you get a chance, check it out. It starts just like a regular advent calendar on December 1st. And then if you knit the pattern each day, you should have your scarf on Christmas. So it works out really, really nicely. And like I said, it's very generous of her to do that, to publish a free pattern all the time, on a daily basis for a month at a busy time like Christmas time. So I really like it. I really appreciate it. And I think everybody should tell her thank you. All right, so the next part is, oh, the things you can think. And I don't know if I can pull it up, But I want to knit. I'm in a group called the Yarn Snobs Incorporated on Ravelry. It was actually started by some friends that are in my knit group um, that just love all the yarns like Bugga and Neighborhood Fiber and just Mad Tosh and everything. Every time you hear me talk about a yarn like that, it's probably because one of them has shown it to me. Because I don't know, I like nice yarn, but I'm not really too impressed by the wow and the Gigi, but they get me. They get me a lot when I see things that they're working on and see things that they've done. So what I wanted to do was pull up Ravelry and show you, although I'm almost positive that you guys know what I'm talking about if I say the sock head hat. So I'll go into Ravelry and see if I can find it. But I want to knit some hats for my son's teachers, and my Yarn Snob group is going to do a knit along for the sock head hat. Now, number one, I've wanted to knit a sock head hat for a long time. 1A is I really wanted to knit it for myself, but they're having the knit along, and I figure I can, if I participate in their knit along, I can get the hat for my son's teacher done at the same time. So I'm going to do her hat first during the knit along, and then I may do another one for myself right after that. But it's Christmas knitting time. I don't know if anybody knows this, but it's October. That means Christmas is in 2 months. It means if you're knitting gifts, you need to get cracking. So I'm at least going to do that one. They're starting next week, which is good because then Spinzilla will be over, and I have tons and tons and tons and tons of sock yarn available to do this pattern with. So I was going through my sock yarn, trying to think of the color that would be best for this teacher. Like I said, the teacher that I'm going to do this for, because I'm assuming that the sock head hat is just for women. I don't know that men would wear that fine gauge of a slouch hat, would they? Anyway, I'm doing it for the reading teacher, who is the woman, who I don't really know all that well, but I've heard that sock head hat goes fast. So I'm thinking that it's still going to be a quick, easy, simple project without too much extra effort for somebody that I barely know. Although she does have my child every day for 180 days. So it's probably worth it, right? So I set out a couple skeins last night, and then I told my son, I said, look at those yarns and tell me which one you think for Miss C. And he looked at them, he's like, well, and I said, oh, and you know what, don't look at the orange and the yellow, because she's so fair and she's got blonde hair, and I don't know that the yellows would go well with her. And he's like, well, those were the ones I was going to pick. I'm like, I don't think so, bud, don't do that. And he said, well, let me go and see, but I think you should make her a scarf. I'm not making her a scarf. So, come to find out, at the end of the day today, when I said bye to him as I walked out the door, he did say that she would like blue. So I hope he didn't say, my mom wants to know what color you want your hat to be, because she's going to knit you a hat for Christmas. Which he might have done. He's very silly like that. But the skein that I picked out at the end, I said, oh, and don't forget this one's in there too. And he's like, yes, that's the one. And I think that's going to be really nice too. So I don't know if you can see this in all the different colors that are popping in. But this, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe this is, now I'm going to forget. Bugga, I think. I'm not positive though, but I think this might be their box jellyfish color. I think. I had a one called box jellyfish that was blues and greens, and then I had one that was called VW bug, and the VW bug is still skeined up. The box jellyfish is not there, so I'm thinking this is it. But as you can see, there's no tag. So I think this is box jellyfish, but I'm not positive. But it's gorgeous anyway, and it's gorgeous blues and green, and I think you can see that. I can see that in the screen, so hopefully you can too. Gorgeous blues and greens, and I think it'll look very nice with her. She does have blue eyes, so I think that'll look very nice with her coloring. And so this is going to be a sock head hat, and I did find it. No, I didn't. Sock head hat? Sock head hat? No. How come when you look up sock head, it doesn't come up? Everybody's talking about this pattern. You would think sock head hat would come up. I guess maybe I needed to look up sock head hat. Okay, it's not there. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It'll be in the show links anywhere. Anyway, which I know I didn't do that last time, but I will this time. I promise. I'll do it this weekend in between spinning. I promise. All right, so sock head hat. Also in the works, I have the hat that I want to make for my son. That's the Mohawk hat. That's probably going to be pretty much his own gift, his only Christmas gift, because we are going on a cruise the day after Christmas, and we come back the day before New Year's. So that's probably his Christmas. I don't know that he realizes that yet, but that's probably his Christmas. What else do I want to knit? I want to knit a trilobite hat. If you've never looked up the trilobite hat, it's a really great pattern. Free pattern from Knitty a couple years ago, several years ago, because I've knitted them over and over again. I've had to knit the hat twice for my son because his head outgrew the first one I made him. I think I made him when he was like 6, and his head got bigger. So he's got a big head anyway. But he needed a second one. I knit one for my brother-in-law. I knit one for my sister last year. Just everybody in my house gets one. So I think that I'm going to do that hat for my son's other teacher, because that one's really fun, a fun quick knit as well. And then I might knit one as well for my dad, who's downstairs. So I've got a lot of knitting to do. And then I would like to knit a sweater for my nephew, but I know my mom has a sweater that's kind of in pieces and almost ready to go. So I might not. I might just worry about his stuffy, his dog in the doghouse stuffy for him for Christmas, because I have books coming his way for a gift for Christmas. So not too sure. But there's lots to do, and it's almost Christmas time, and I need to get cracking. Definitely need to get. Let's go on and talk about everyone needs a thneed, so that we can then get to the contest. So everyone needs a thneed. I have just one thing to show you for enabling, although the things I show you for the contest might be a little bit of enabling as well. So I signed up for, over the summer, Club Awesome. And Club Awesome is Club Awesome is a collaboration between Cephalopod Yarns, Dragonfly Fibers, and Neighborhood Fiber Company, who all happen to be local, pretty much, to me here. They're all like within an hour's driving distance of me, and they all kind of claim Baltimore. There's two of the dyers, Cephalopod Yarns and Neighborhood Fiber Company, are based in Baltimore, and Dragonfly Fibers is kind of in a suburb the other direction. It's actually near where we go to my son's lacrosse games. So, you know, this is a really big metropolitan area. Like I said before, I'm closer to DC, and I'm probably equally separated from where Dragonfly Fibers has their offices and where Cephalopod and Neighborhood Fiber have their offices. Anyway, so the three companies decided to collaborate in a club called Club Awesome. So here's the bag for Club Awesome. Excuse the grease stain from my bobbin just a minute ago. But this is the bag, and I'm assuming this bag is a one-time offer with the first shipment, because this is the first shipment. And everybody should have theirs by now, because, like I said, I already delayed podcasting for a while. So we have a pattern for a shawl called Dragonstone in this one, and then the yarn to go with it. So it's a 2-color shawl, which means there's 2 colors. And this is really deceptive, because this is a plain garter stitch top with a colorwork border and then a lace edging. But the dark is where the lace is, so you really can't see it, but that is lace. And you can barely see it when you look there. You really have to look at the pattern, and there's a chart and everything on the pattern. But the fiber is from Dragonfly, and this is her pixie skein, which is a big single. Reminds me a lot of Mad Tosh. And this one is called. These names are hilarious, by the way, because I'm all for some great colors, and that's a great color. Definitely, those are my colors. Deep brownie, deep burgundy-ish browns to black and little light splotches here and there. Definitely my colors, but the names, hilarious. So this one is called The Prince That Was Promised. You know, like someday my prince will come. But this one is called The Self-Rescuing Princess. So apparently, Princey didn't do his job. The prince had to rescue herself. So hilarious. And I love that the two are put together. The shawl, I'm not too sure is my taste though, so I don't know that I'll be knitting these two together in that, but these two will be together in something, because they go really nicely together. This is a very pinky peach, neutrally color. They look really nice together. really, really nice together. And again, that's Dragonfly Fibers, who are native to Maryland and local to Baltimore. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. I think the club is going to be really nice. And they're very, very responsive to customer concerns. There was a little issue with shipping, and I got responses not from one person but from 2 people. They were on it, making sure that I had what I signed up for, and I really, really appreciate that. They did a really, really great job, and I really like this first shipment. So I'm not sure that I'm going to use that pattern with those yarns, but I definitely will use those 2 yarns together. But I don't know that I would wear that shawl that much. I don't know. But I might need to see some other people that have it finished, and what the front of it looks like is going to matter too, because I'm not all that sold on the fronts that are just fronts and that you keep having to tug with or play with or wear a shawl pin for. So I don't know. All right. So enough talking. Let's talk about what we're going to do, what I would like to do with the group, and what I would like to do for a future knit along. So the first things first. Let's talk about prizes. So I would like to take an idea from Stephanie, from the Knitting Samurai Plus One podcast, and she has a thread on her group that asks what you're knitting on for the current month. And so I'd like to encourage some more group participation, and so I would like to start I'm going to start a thread that says the same thing for what are you working on for, this is October. So you have the rest of October to post what you're working on. Show us some pictures, definitely. Let us know what you're working on, and then I'm going to offer up a choice of prizes. So, the first prize is a skein of opal. I don't use opal all that much. I actually like the merinos and the softies and things. Opal is a very good, sturdy workhorse yarn, and I know some people, especially if you wear your socks a lot in your shoes, at work and things like that, like opal because it's very sturdy and very hardy and it will not wear through. It's alright. I'm not overly impressed with it. And this has been in my stash for a bit and I have not used it. So I would like to offer this one up. This is one of the artist series. I'm trying to see. Everything is in German, so I don't know what it is. This one, though, here's the artwork. Is that a Clint? I know the artist. I just forget his name. But that's the artwork that it's based after. And you can see the colors do match very well, very nicely. I've never knitted on it. So I have to be really excited about the pattern to go with the yarn when I do this. And this is just going to probably be best in a plain vanilla sock. So it does have a picture here of the different ways you could do it. You could do it side to side, or you can do regular toe up or cuff down and get it to look that way. So I guess it's what you want to knit. But you'll have your choice. You can have the skein of opal, which will definitely make one pair of socks for anybody. It's 425 meters, so it's definitely probably about 450 yards. Or you can have this skein of Araucania Nature Wool. This is a DK weight wool. I actually had knitted some socks in DK weight with this. This is a 100-gram skein, so there's lots of good things you can do with 100 grams of DK. I happen to know of a hat pattern that would look great with this yarn in 100 yards, or 100 grams. So this is Araucania Nature Wool, and it's 100 grams, 240 yards. I like how on theirs they have plus or minus 240 yards. It's around 240 yards. And this is really hard wearing yarn. It will felt though. Word of warning. It will felt. Don't ask how I know, but it will felt. So this will be October's prize. One of these will be October's prize for sharing what you're working on in the group. So please join the group. Please talk in the group amongst yourselves and to me and share what you're working on, because I like seeing that kind of stuff. I like seeing what everybody's doing. And I guess I could just be a stalker and go around Ravelry and look around, but it's more interesting when the people have a connection with you. So please, please, please join the group and participate and tell me what you're knitting on, and you can have either one of these that you would like if you win. So I will stop it at the end of the month and write down everybody who participates. There aren't very many people there, so I'm assuming I can do it like fishbowl style. If there happen to be a bazillion people that join, I'll I'll run the random number generator like I've seen other podcasters do, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be a fishbowl type situation. So tell us what you're working on for October, and there that is. The next thing I want to talk about is something that I would like you to start planning out for the month of November. So November is near and dear to the hearts and minds of my house. In November, we go around our house and we put blue lights in our windows for National Diabetes Awareness Month. And as you know, my son has type 1 diabetes. And what I would like to do is get a little bit of an awareness / educational knit along or craft along going. So if you crochet, wonderful. If you knit, wonderful. I guess if you quilt and you were willing to do a blue quilt, that would be great too. So my hope is this. I want you to find something blue to knit. And the color for diabetes is, it's almost this exactly. You know how everybody has their color? Breast cancer has pink, and AIDS awareness was the red ribbon. Well, the color for National Diabetes Awareness Month is just about that blue. Oh, it looks really bright on the screen though. But it's like a deeper, or it's like a periwinkle blue. It's not the Tiffany blue. It's not that pale and delicate. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit beefier. It's a periwinkle, which is what this looks like to me, but on the screen it looks almost navy or royal. But it's a periwinkle blue. You don't have to find that color exactly, though. I'd like you to find some blue yarn, some overall blue yarn, not just something with a little bit of blue, but an overall blue yarn to knit something with. A hat to donate to charity. Maybe you're participating in Halos of Hope, a pair of socks, baby booties, a wash rag, or dishcloth, whatever you would like to knit. Knit something. And my hope is that you're somebody who knits in public, or maybe you'll tell the sales lady at the yarn shop when you buy the yarn. My hope is that you'll tell somebody that you're knitting it because it's National Diabetes Awareness Month, and that you'll have the conversation. I've mentioned a couple times before that there's, a big strife between type 1 and type 2. And there's actually a brand new story with this, with Tom Hanks, and I'll get to that after I talk about the knitting. But there's a big confusion, and lots of people don't even know that there are different types of diabetes. But there are at least 3 types of diabetes, if not 4 types of diabetes. And the reasons that people have it are different. And sometimes the way people take care of it is different. And the things that they need to or have to do because of it are different. And so it's not just diabetes and this is what you do and you have it because of this. No. There's lots of different reasons. There's lots of different methods for treating it. Diabetes is a very personal disease, and not everybody knows that. So my hope is, and you don't have to know a lot about it to participate in this, what my hope is, you're knitting on something blue, and somebody comes over and says, what a lovely blue scarf, or what lovely blue yarn, and you'll say, oh yeah, I'm knitting it because it's National Diabetes Awareness Month. Do you know anybody with diabetes? Or you might say, I'm knitting this because it's National Diabetes Month. I'm knitting this for a knit-along for National Diabetes Month. Were you aware that there are 2 types of diabetes? There's at least 2 types of diabetes. Or you might mention that, I'm knitting this for National Diabetes Month because a podcaster who has a son who has type 1 diabetes wanted us to. And then my hope is that a conversation will then spark and that people will be made aware. I don't expect anybody to gather all the facts and go out and educate anybody. My hope is just to start conversations and to raise awareness, which is what it's all about. So start thinking of some blue yarn that you can use. It can be any project, any size. It doesn't even have to be finished in the month. My hope, though, is that you cast on 2 stitches on the last day of November and say, here's my participation in the knit-along. I'm hoping that you participate with us throughout the month. And entries will be done based on knitting something. Entries will be done based on when you talk to somebody, you can post about that and post about the conversation, and that will be another entry. And you can post another entry for finishing. So you don't have to finish to get an entry, but if you are finished, you'll get an extra entry. So there'll be at least 3 ways there will be 3 ways to get entries, and you can gain more entries by talking to more people, which is what I want it to all be about. So start thinking of that. I'll give more information the next time I record, which will probably be just before the end of the month. Or will it already be November? Let me pull up my calendar real quick. But I will give more information before it officially starts, so that everybody knows exactly what to do and what I'm expecting and what I'm hoping for. Not what I'm expecting, because it's not really feasible. So this is the 9th. I would have been, no, I should be recording again on the 18th, depending on where I am. 18th and 19th is actually the Maryland State Teachers Convention, but I'm torn between going. I usually go every 2 years, but I do have a cruise coming up, and I have not gotten a raise in 6 years, and it costs money to go there. So I'm not sure that I'm taking the plunge this year. I like to go. You always find out lots of new information, but I'm just about done with new information for my classroom right now with all the new implementations that they want me to do this year. So I'm thinking I might just relax and enjoy the day off and get some work done for my classroom, which is usually what I do, and rest up for the next week. So I think that's all I have to share with you this time. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to join me in the group and have some conversations. The show notes will be on my blog at www.knitsandthings.wordpress.com. The video, I'm sure you found it if you've seen it this far. I post onto YouTube, but there's also a link through my blog where you can find the show notes as well. And I also will put all the show notes. I've been putting all the show notes as well into the Ravelry group on the thread when I say that the episode is up. So look for the show notes there or on my blog. And until next time, enjoy your knitting. I hope it makes you happy.